We can use the play script to create and save our first event object. Start by importing the event class's namespace. Let's save this wild event. To do that, we use a special object called the Entity Manager. It's basically the most important object in Doctrine and is in charge of saving objects and fetching them back out. To get the Entity Manager, first grab a service from the container called Doctrine and call getManager on it. Saving is a two-step process: persist and then flush. 2 steps? Yeah, and for an awesome reason. The first tells Doctrine, hey, you should know about this object, but no queries are made yet. When we call flush, Doctrine actually executes the insert query. The awesome part is that if you need to save a bunch of objects at once, you can persist each of them and call flush once. Doctrine will then pack these operations into as few queries as possible. Now, when we execute our play script, it blows up. Scroll up to see the error message. Unknown database symphony. Duh, we skipped one important step: setting up the database config. Database config is usually stored in app-config-parameters.yaml. Change the database name to Yoda_event. For my super secure computer, the database user root with no password is perfect. Now, I know you're super smart and capable, but let's be lazy again and use the console to create the database for us with the Doctrine database create command. There's also a command to drop the database. That's great until you realize that you just ran it on production, and everyone is running around with their hair on fire. Yeah, so that's a healthy reminder to not give your production database user access to drop the database. We have a database but no tables. Any ideas who might help us with this? Oh yeah, our friend Console. Run the Doctrine schema create command. This finds all your entities, reads their annotation mapping config, and creates all the tables. What? No errors? Did it work? Use the Doctrine query SQL command to run a raw query against the database. And voila, there is our event. Let's get crazy and leave the details field blank. When we run the script, another explosion. We see the error is straight from MySQL, saying that the details column can't be null. So Doctrine assumes by default that all of your columns should be set to not null when creating the table. To change this, add a nullable option to the details property inside the entity. But before this does anything, the actual column in the database needs to be modified to reflect the change. Hey, Console to the rescue! Run the Doctrine schema update command. This is pretty sweet. It looks at your annotations mapping config, compares it against the current state of the database, and figures out exactly what queries we need to run to update the database structure. But the command didn't do anything yet. Pass dump-SQL to see the queries it wants to run, and force to actually run them. Run the play script again. Alright, no errors means that the new event is saved without a problem. Putting stuff into the database is nice, but let's learn how to get stuff out. Open up the default controller class we've been playing with. First, we need to get the all-important Entity Manager. That's old news for us. Like before, just get the Doctrine service from the container and call getManager on it. This works, but since we're extending the base controller, we can use its getDoctrine to get the Doctrine service. That'll save us a few keystrokes. To query for something, we always first get an entity's repository object. A repository has just one job: to help query for one type of object, like event objects. The event bundle event string is the same top secret shortcut syntax we used when we generated the entity. It's like the entity's nickname. Use the repository's find_one_by method to get an event object by name. There are other shortcut methods too, like findAll, findBy, and find. Okay, let's pass the event object into the template as a variable. We can use Twig's render syntax to print out the name and location properties. Internally, Twig is smart enough to call getName and getLocation, since the properties are private. Refresh the page. I can see our event data, so all the magic doctrine querying must be working. Actually, check out the Web Debug toolbar. The cute box icon jumped from 0 to 1, which is the number of queries used for the page. When we click the little boxes, we can even see what those queries are and even run explain on them. Good work, young Jedi. Seriously, you know the basics of Doctrine, and that's not easy. In the next 2 episodes, we'll create custom queries and use cool things like events that will let you hook into Doctrine as entities are inserted, updated, or removed from the database. Oh, and don't forget, Doctrine has its own documentation, though the most helpful pages are the annotations reference and Doctrine mapping types. And by the way, when you see annotations in the Doctrine docs, prefix them with @orm/ before putting them in Symfony. That's because of the use statement above our entity. If that's in your class and you have @orm/ at the start of all your Doctrine annotations, you're killing it.